Welcome into Sports Idiot Nation. It is a Wednesday, and if you were with us last week on Friday, you remember we kind of dove into some nostalgia and things that we wanted to bring back. So, T.I. and I, we're going to dive a little bit deeper and talk about what it was like for us on Saturday morning. So, come join us.
Sports, comedy, pop culture, and everything in between. By idiots, for idiots.
This is Sports Idiot Nation.
Sports, comedy, pop culture, and everything in between. Welcome back, sinners. This is Season 2 of Sports Idiot Nation.
Welcome into Sports Idiot Nation. It is a Wednesday, so of course we come to you 3 days a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And T and I were talking off camera, if you will.
T and I? T and I?
TMI. It was
T and I. T and I. I'll take it. I'll take it. T and I. T and I. I'll take it.
It's Titans, and he's an idiot.
Yeah. No lies detected. No lies detected.
Exactly. Just go with it. I almost gave it TMI. So we were talking off camera since me and you were going to go as Miles was busy today. And since we're a wee bit older, we have different memories of what a Saturday morning looks like. And so we were kind of thinking about what that looks like for people in their 40s, and I feel like there's enough of people in our Cineverse that watch the SinCast who
Absolutely.
I think we're about to take you to memory lane. So
I mean,
why don't you start us off with what your Saturday looked like?
Well, I was just gonna say, being a parent and knowing what my son's Saturday looks like versus what mine was, it's a different world today. It's an absolutely different world, you know. Like when you and I were kids,
It's a lot different. Yeah,
we had what 3 channels, 4 channels. You know, you had you had cartoons on maybe Fox. Fox was more of like the after school stuff. Maybe wasn't Saturdays as much, but you know, there was a time frame when they lifted the restrictions on your child programming. Like in the 80s, it was like, hey, if you have a toy, you can create a show based around your toy, and you can just basically use it as a 30-minute infomercial for your toy. You know, whether it's Turtles, whether it's Transformers, whether it was GoBots, whether it was He-Man, whether it was Smurfs, whatever it was, it really wasn't more so about like providing Care Bears. It wasn't about providing a great program for your kids. It was more about like marketing and capitalism. So yeah,
but we liked it still.
Oh hell yeah, we did. I mean, we ate it up just like the cereal. I mean, that was what we do. We wake up. I would do. I don't know about you. I would wake up every Saturday morning. It's funny when you're during the week, you wake up, you're like, oh, I don't want to go to school. I don't want to wake up. But on Saturday morning, you're like, shit, I'm gonna wake up at 4:30 a.m. You know, I'm ready to go. You know, and it was like you find the biggest bowl in the house, you know, and you fill it just full of Fruit Loops or Lucky Charms or whatever. As we have discussed on this program, I was a no milk. I was all sugar.
Oh.
All sugar, you know. We've talked about that.
How could I forget? That is so weird, dude.
Sadomasochist, that's me.
So weird.
But yeah, I would just pour the biggest bowl of Fruit Loops. I would plop down in front of the TV. You know, we had the giant TVs, you know, the big blocky TVs, you know. And man, it was just like nonstop. It was like, all right, you know, you start off with whatever. I mean, I remember it was you had the wrestling, you had the Saturday morning superstars or whatever it's called. It was a WWF cartoon. Then there was the pros, like we talked about before on one of these episodes. They had the Bo Jackson, Wayne Gretzky, Bo Jackson, and Michael Jordan, you know, where they were like, they weren't fighting crime, but I don't know what the hell they were doing. It was just another way for them to sell the whole image, right? But then you had Smurfs, and then you had Gummy Bears, and then you had the Snorks, which was like the knockoff Smurfs. Then you had all the Hanna-Barbera stuff. You had like, you know, the Jabberjaws, Jabba Jaws, the shark, you know. So it didn't matter really what it was, right? You just watched it. because you didn't have streaming. You didn't have choices. It was like, all right, this is your block of programming. The network have decided this is what you're going to watch, and you're either going to sit there and eat your cereal and watch it, or you're going to go outside. And let's face it, on Saturday mornings we weren't going outside. Nobody was going outside. We were
in the
we were watching
afternoon
cartoons,
later, maybe.
man. Yeah,
So
absolutely. After the cartoons are done, because around noon it switched to like infomercials and
yeah,
you
we
know
were
all
watching
the
that.
stuff that your parents cared about. You know, so yeah, Saturday mornings as a kid were in our time were just amazing. Saturday
So I
mornings
want to ask
today
you,
is just opposite for kids. You know,
and that's what I want to ask you. So I'm curious. I'm going through the line thinking of, here's a couple examples. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, as far as, here's what I'm thinking. Cartoon that had a mega splash with the figures, the action figures. So there's
oh yeah,
G.I. Joe, just to name three off the bat, is G.I. Joe, Transformers, and Ninja Turtles. And what my
and
question is now
He-Man,
is what is like that? Yeah, sure. He-Man, Thundercats. So
He-Man was one of them.
there's five. There's let's add He-Man and Thundercats. So what I'm curious about is, that's a good solid five right there. What is there anything even now that your son, as he comes out of that age, maybe like over the last 2 to 3 years, is there anything that even compares? I'm trying to
No,
think.
no, there
Seriously.
well there really isn't. I mean, they're in incarnations of things. Like we get, you know, there's our new Ninja Turtles. There's been multiple incarnations of the Ninja
Yeah,
Turtles, and they're
but
still continuing. But you know, I kind of talked about that with my wife. I was like, you know, my kid has went through the stages of Thomas the Train, and then you know, Paw Patrol and all this stuff. But what I kind of stressed to that is nobody, you know,
that's
my son is never going to be like in his 30s and be like, oh, I wish I could go back and kind of collect my Paw Patrol figures, right? Or it's just
right.
they don't have that feeling, you know. And like He-Man is a perfect example. A lot of people don't know this, but He-Man got like one season. That was it. We think that He-Man was just eternal, right? Because
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
in Eternia. But it really didn't. It was really just like, hey, we have to sell these toys. We're going to make the show. And when I went back to kind of show my kid He-Man, I didn't even realize how short it was. It was just like, oh man, they just had that one season. That was it. Voltron the same way. Voltron was just there to sell toys. And, you know, even in like my brother's age, like they still had Power Rangers and stuff like that. So I mean, it was like you still had that, but not today,
Yeah.
not at all. Right now, everybody's crazy about the K-pop Demon Hunters shit, and it
Right,
drives me
right.
crazy.
Maybe that's the
But that's
closest.
I mean, but it's not gonna. There's not figures. It's not gonna be. Nobody's gonna be talking about that in 2 years, you know. But I mean, still to this day, you keep getting. I mean, there's a He-Man movie coming out, right? Like you still keep.
Right.
There's Ninja Turtles is still
Thundercats.
big.
There's a Thundercats movie.
There's Thundercat. There's been Voltron on Netflix. There's been Voltron shows. So it's like
Yeah.
all that stuff when we were kids still holds weight because I felt like it had heart and substance, and it wasn't. Even though it was to sell toys, it still connected with the youth. And today, I don't know if it's just everything's so rapid fire, like you got to have stuff at your fingertips. I don't know if it's the Mr. Beast effect, whatever it is, but they just don't have that stay power. You know, like my kid for the first 3-4 years of his life was all Thomas the Train, and he knew the theme song to Thomas. He knew every character Thomas. He knew that before he was even saying, you know, mommy and daddy. It was like he knew every damn character of
Now,
Thomas
and
the
that's
Train.
not new either.
It's not. It's not.
It's
But
not. It's
it's
like
not. But it
old.
still is. It is. But it's like he's never gonna wake up one day and be like, oh, I wish I could go back and kind of relive that. Like it just does not have that. But where of us, we could be 60 years old and still enjoy G.I. Joe and still enjoy He-Man and still enjoy
And
Transformers.
remember
If I mean,
Sergeant Slaughter coming on G.I. Joe
oh yeah,
after
dude.
a commercial break.
Another crossover there, you know, like WWF and G.I. Joe. Like it was just everything was like, hey, let's do these crossovers, you know, and it just doesn't exist. I feel sorry for kids today. I think it's cool that they have technology at their fingertips, but I feel sorry for them because they don't get to travel around the neighborhood and try to find where all the bikes were at, right? You were like, where's everybody hanging out today? You didn't have phones, right? So you just have to go to the yard and find the house that had 8 bikes in front of it. And you're like, oh, that's where all my boys are at. And that's where you go. And now it's like they hop on and play these little games on their iPad and stuff. And it's just, I don't know, man. I know it sounds like an old.
They watch YouTube channels of the game being played. How about
by
that?
other people.
Does your son do that at all?
Oh, hell yeah, he does. I try to tell him, I'm like, when I was a kid,
don't you want to play?
We would get angry, like, no, it's my turn to play, No, it's my turn to play. Now fight. It's like
we would fight.
They're all lining up to watch somebody else play. Like, no, So I just, I know it's, like I said, it's the old man get off my lawn mentality, but man, I just feel sorry for some of these kids today. They just don't get to experience Saturday morning cartoons. They don't get to experience like still in their PJs on a Saturday morning with a giant bowl of cereal, putting their feet up and just like knowing that mom and dad is not going to bother them for 4 straight hours and they're just going to binge everything. And they get the commercials, and all the commercials are selling the product, selling more toys, selling the cereal. And we just ate it up, And now it's just like, at your fingertips, streaming. Oh, I'm going to fast forward through this. Oh, I don't want to watch this. I don't like this. Click off. We didn't have those options, It was like, hey, if you didn't like what was on TV, well, you better find something to do for the next 30 minutes, because that's all you get is what's on TV.
So I want to talk through a couple things that we did not mention that was a part of my Saturdays, and I want to know if they were a part of yours. And because we mentioned quite a few that were a part of my Saturday mornings, but here are 2. So one, and this isn't cartoon, but it was Saturday morning for sure, and that's Saved by the Bell. So
oh yeah,
it was also on in the afternoons, like after school. But like the brand new episodes, like Saturday mornings was a thing, and then Xmen, the cartoon, was on either right after 11 a.m. for me in Indiana.
Well, okay, so it's funny that we're actually talking about this because just 2 nights ago, I watched a YouTube video about the rise and fall of the Ninja Turtles, about the original cartoon and how it all happened. And one of the main reasons, like the last 2 seasons of Ninja Turtles got real kind of serious. They kind of cut the comedy. They call it the Purple Sky season because there was no Shredder. It was Lord Dreg. Bebop and Rocksteady were just they weren't comic relief. And what happened is that Fox introduced Batman the Animated Series and the X-Men show, and both of those shows were so serious, and they were eating CBS alive. They were eating the other channels alive, and so CBS was like,
"Oh wow,
we have to kind of combat that." And yeah, you're right. Like that kind of ushered in a whole new wave. What ushered it because Batman the Animated Series was not lighthearted. It was very serious from the jump. Even the intro, you're just like, okay, this is not a kid's show.
It's for adults now. An adult, a 35-year-old male right now could easily watch Batman the Animated Series and actually watch it for the plot. Like actually watch oh, I wonder what's going to happen. It's not like a cartoon. It's wild.
Both of those debuted as after school. They debuted around 4 o'clock. It was like 4 o'clock because
That's
it was
when
like
I watched it.
They did a block.
It wasn't Saturday morning.
It was like 4:30 to 5, 4 to 4:30 and 4:30 to 5 because after that it was your local news or it was whatever. So it was like that last sliver of okay, the kids are home, maybe they've done their homework, whatever. We're gonna get them, and then the parents are gonna be home from work at 5 o'clock. Because I mean that's another thing too. Like kids are back in those days, like. We didn't have a lot of after school programs and shit. It was like, hey, you went home on the bus and you were there by yourself for a while. Your parents weren't there. It's not like today where it's like, oh, I can't leave my kid at home. There's no telling what they get into because they have all this shit at their fingertips. Like our parents were like, well, the only thing they can get into is ride their bikes with their friends or watch TV or play the Game Boy, play Nintendo, right? I mean, that was it,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, both those shows changed a lot of kids television, and it actually like to some extent at one point is when they passed the law to where networks could only have X amount of television devoted to cartoons because of the whole like kind of trying to keep the kids' mind fresh, not trying to send them sell a lot of products to them and all that. But in the 80s, like there were no restrictions. So we were just like, it was just floored to us. It was like, you were just glued watching it, but X-Men and Batman were great. Like you said, Thundercats, Voltron was a little ahead of its time too, because I mean, it was more of a Japanese thing that got converted to American, but I loved Voltron so much. A lot of kids these days with their Power Ranger stuff don't understand that that's really what Power Rangers was. It was just Voltron and it being told differently, with
the colors and like
you had the five lions that all made the giant robot, and it's I was all about Voltron. I had a camera. I had my first camera I ever had was a Voltron camera. I miss those days. I mean, I know we all get older and we miss our childhood, but I just miss the ability to kind of just veg out on some television that's not streaming, that's not, like there was something to be said about like, oh, if you want to watch your favorite show, you got to be home at this time to watch that show or you miss it, and now it's like, oh, I just catch it whenever I want,
Yeah.
Like I loved that as a kid. It was like, hey, where are you going? Oh man, I can't miss Ninja Turtles, man. I mean, I was, obsessed with Ninja Turtles. If have already discussed on the multiple episodes, Turtles of Idiot Nation wouldn't exist if I wasn't obsessed with Ninja Turtles. And I would go out of my way. I'd stop playing with my friends, be like, hey man, I gotta go home. Gotta watch Ninja Turtles. There's a new episode. And it was always to introduce like a new figure. That's all it was. They were like, oh, we're going to introduce this new character. Yeah, this new character. And he's going to only be on 2 episodes so we can sell the toy.
Yeah.
I
remember the Rat King episode, seeing it for the first time and just thinking like, what? I thought the turtles were by themselves in the sewer.
No.
Like,
Yeah.
That whole thing.
Lots of people hanging out in the sewer, But yeah, I try to have that conversation with my kids and stuff a lot. And we go back and watch old stuff. Mask was another one. I loved Mask.
Yep. Oh, those toys were fantastic.
Yeah, Mask was like the
that was on in the afternoon after school because Sergeant Slaughter and G.I. Joe and that stuff.
Well, you mentioned, you mentioned like the X-Men and Batman, but you also mentioned like Saved by the Bell, and Saved by the Bell, it was a huge part of my growing up. And we also, I don't know if you remember, but it also got to the point to where it was syndicated and it would come on in the mornings during the week. So you'd watch it before
and
school.
Afternoons.
And there was nothing more like to energize you for school, to watch a show about school in the morning, right? You're eating your cereal, you're eating your Pop-Tarts, whatever. And then you got, Zach and Kelly and, Slater and Screech and Lisa and Jesse, like, it was all a big deal. And then you had the spinoff, California Dreams. I don't know if you remember that one.
Yeah.
Where they were like a band, and it wasn't as good, but man, I'd be lying if I didn't say I still watch
it. Yeah.
All the time, So
the
you just
dynamic to be home for that was just different. Like another reason why I think like here's something kind of on topic but off what we're talking about is TGIF. Like you had to be home with your family to watch it, and it was a big deal. Like, oh, do you guys want to go out to dinner tonight? Well, what time? Because we got to be back because Danny Tanner is on at 7.
Yeah.
No, but we'd laugh. But dude, that was a thing. Like we were. I mean, we wanted to be home to watch it.
That was the prime spot. You wanted, if you had a show, you wanted.
Now
you wanted it. Yeah, it's funny. I was just talking to my wife about that. I saw a preview for a new show that's coming on NBC or whatever. It's like a cheerleading comedy show.
Oh yeah,
And I was like, it airs on Friday nights. I was like, that's a death sentence in today's world. Like,
well,
when we were kids,
you can stream it. You can stream it anytime
sure,
you want.
But I mean, like, who is at home on a Friday night? Like, nobody is.
Nobody.
But back then you didn't leave. You had Step by Step. You had Family Matters. You had Full House. They
rotated one show in there that was always different, maybe. But
one of them,
like Step by
never
Step
hit.
Or Dinosaurs or whatever.
8 is enough.
But the Full House
just
and
the
Family
10 of
Matters
us or something like that. Just the 10
Family
of us.
Matters
was the episode.
And Full House was the 2 that were like a mainstay. That was like
Yeah.
Power Hour.
And Step by Step as well. It lasted a long time.
Oh, for sure. And I did love that show. Cody and the dumb guy. Like,
yeah, Suzanne Summers,
Behold my Patrick Duffy leg.
Yeah, everybody knows Suzanne
Patrick
Summers
Duffy.
as the exercise thing. But it's like
Thigh Master.
Thigh Master, yeah. But I mean, she was a TV mom for a lot of us growing up for about 10, 11 straight years,
And then super older folks say, "Oh no, Suzanne Summers is with Ritter and the brunette in Three's Company." Like,
yeah.
we aren't even old enough like for that. Like, some people see Suzanne Summers as such different, like, you know what I mean?
I never Three's Company I thought was great, but I never. Yeah, it was. I never really watched it.
Yeah, too young.
I was, I watched some stuff with my grandmother or whatever. I watched
reruns and stuff. I've seen enough episodes.
KRP and shit like that.
Cincinnati,
yeah, and which was
Mary
great.
Tyler Moore show,
funny show,
dude. The Mary Tyler Moore show, it was funny. Where they're on the news team.
And that was good. And I still watch today. Cheers is like excellent. Is But I mean, it's just I just feel like there's not like none of that holds weight today. Like there's nothing that in 20 or 30 years that these kids today are going to be like, oh, I got to go back. Like even Pokemon. I mean, hell, Pokemon debuted in 1997. It's not anything new. And it's just like, if people still get nostalgia for Pokemon, I get it because it still came out in the 90s. I mean, it was out in the early 90s in Japan. It just didn't hit America until 97.
Right.
So, I just feel sorry for these kids today, man. We lucked out. We got the dawn of the internet. We kind of got the pre-technology. We got all of the, the cartoons and the toys and the movies. I mean, let's be real, man. Mid 80s to the early 90s were the best time to go see a movie. Like you just don't. Movies come out today and they're great, but man, you just don't get that feeling of like
the anticipation is different.
Yeah, I mean, just the Back to the Future, the Indiana Jones, Star Wars. I mean, even Ninja Turtles came out in 1990. I mean, you see this stuff today and you're like, yeah, they're great and the CGI is awesome, but I'm not clamoring to watch them like I am the Goonies or or like the Back to the Future 100%. Trilogy.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Back to the Future just had its most recent 30th anniversary or whatever, and it's back in the theaters. Or
people are talking about it again. Yeah.
And still though, it's just like even I mean, some of the bigger hits this past 20 years have been like Pirates of the Caribbean and stuff, and I'm still not going back to watch that like I am stuff when we were kids. Like I talk about RoboCop all the time. Like I could watch RoboCop a million times. I've already seen it a million times. I could watch it a million times again and never get tired of it. Ninja Turtles episodes. I mean, I will like. There's a YouTube channel that just streams GI Joe. Like just literally streams GI Joe episodes all the time live. And that's all of that was just so meaningful. And I miss it, man. Like I just don't. I just feel, like I said, man. I just feel for kids today. They don't have anything that means anything to them. They have things that mean something to them in the moment, but nothing that's long lasting. Nothing that they're gonna go back and go, oh. I mean, like a joke about the Paw Patrol shit. But I mean, what kid out there is gonna be when they're in their 30s, and they've got their own kids, are gonna be like, oh, I need to introduce you to Paw Patrol. Like, hell no.
I wish I had my Blue's Clue. Like, no, that's not a thing.
You're not. You're not at all.
You can acknowledge it, like, oh, I remember. Yeah, that was crazy. But you're not gonna like look for the figure. You're not gonna look for, like I can remember wanting a character, Starscream, Transformers, and Cobra Commander for G.I. Joe was voiced by the same person.
Yeah.
And in my head, I still not only remember that, but I want each action figure, and I want them to have a conversation. Like I want both of them.
If I'm not mistaken, it's the same guy who did. He's done a million things. I think it's the same guy. He's done everything.
No,
I think his like most famous is like Fred from Scooby Doo, but I think he's done like everybody.
It's crazy. The Cobra Command and Starscream was the one that got me, like, because they were so. I would watch that. Yeah. And it was just, so great. So great.
Megatron.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, no.
Those Joes. I'll get those Joes.
I'll get those Joes. Yeah, and like Destro, I remember as a kid like having the silver-headed Destro, and then the original one, and then once it became like this hot commodity, you can't get them. They introduced the gold-headed Destro, and it's just like, in these days, that's like some Happy Meal shit, right? That's like, you're not going to the store like, we were like kids, like, oh, we're going through all the G.I. Joes, flipping through the panels. And that's another thing too, like the packaging of toys and stuff back in the day. It was literally like, it was a window into the show. It wasn't a separate thing. It was like, the Ninja Turtles are a perfect example. I mean, all the packaging, the back, everything. It was like, okay, I feel like that it's an extension of
the show. I can make my own episode now. That I have all the turtles, and I have Rat King, and I have Leatherhead.
You cut out your stuff. You had the little card.
You had to hold.
There's like a collector's card. G.I. Joe had it as well. You cut it out, and it was like a collector's thing, and you keep. If you go on eBay, man, people still sell that stuff.
And the vehicles and all that.
Oh man, all that. Man, it was amazing. I miss those days so much.
Yeah, now life sucks. All you have is Sports Idiot Nation. Again, we come to you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That's all we can do.
I don't have any figures. And, I don't have any Sports Idiot Nation figures.
Yeah, stay tuned, I guess. I mean, we make sure you hit the link because you can get items like this and our t-shirts, of course. So make sure you hit up the link and follow if you have not followed us on social media, of course. Remember, again, new episodes come to you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, which means we will see you Friday. Thank you for watching this episode of Sports Idiot Nation. Remember, we are on all social media and on YouTube, and the podcast can be found on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Remember, new episodes are every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And remember, because you watch Sports Idiot Nation,
you would be the smartest idiot in the whole world.